What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So this is a continuation of a previous video that I made where we were building a expenses app. We're actually building the user interface, and this is where I got the inspiration from. We're actually building this UI over here. In the last video we managed to build this screen, so in this video I'm going to be working on the second screen, which is this one. And I don't want to waste much of your time. Gonna try to keep this video as short as possible. So yep, let's get right into it. Okay, so what we did in the previous video was for those of you who didn't see the video, was we just added these cards. We made this reusable components, and also we made this also reusable component here, and the button as well. If you click on it, it tells you which component you clicked on, and if I click here as well, it tells me I clicked on the food component here. If I click on electricity, it tells me that I clicked on electricity. So these are pretty much reusable because we're able to determine which component was clicked on or pressed, because these are mobile apps. You don't click on a mobile app, you press. Because we are able to tell which component we pressed, we can easily navigate to another screen and then pass data to that screen, and and just let that screen do what it has to do with that data. We also had this cool custom text input that we created, and so let's start working on the transfer screen now. Alright, so I'm not sure if you guys can see this properly. I hope you do. So I've got these two folders under screens. I've got I've got the home screen, and I've got the splash screen. So I'm just gonna rename this. So I've just renamed the folder, and this is how I usually structure my project. So under the folder I've got components, and I've got the index file as well as the styles file. So the index file is the screen itself, right? So home screen, and then this is where the styles for that screen live, and here I've got components that will only be used by that screen. Okay, you don't want to have every component under the main components folder. That's not good practice, because that means this components folder will be filled with a lot of components, because in React Native we try as much as possible to keep everything to make everything a component. So just make sure that you components that are specific to a certain screen, put them under the folder for that screen. All right. So I'm gonna do the same for transactions. Alright, so I've added the components folder under the transfer screen. I've also added the index.js file, which is the screen itself. Remember, don't call this index, don't go const index, and then just put the name of the screen here. We're using index over here because it makes it much easier when we import this screen over here. Alright, and then I've also added style, which is pretty much the same as the styles that we have for home screen. We might add additional styles over here, but I imported the values, which that's where I store the numbers. When we want to add some padding, we want to keep the padding consistent throughout the entire app, so that at a later stage, if I wanna change the padding values, I'll just go to this one file, which is values, and I'll change the numbers over here. So as you can see here, we've got a style for how we want an H1 text to look like, and another style for how we want, an H2, a P style, just basic values over here. Okay, and then we've got colors. That's where our colors live. Okay, so let's go ahead and build the screen. So sorry about that. Alright, cool. So the first screen that we want to display, currently we are seeing the screen over here. And what I wanted to do at first, I wanted to add React navigation so that when I click on one of these buttons, I then get navigated to this screen. But I want to create a separate React navigation video tutorial. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the transaction screen to be the root screen. Okay, so and then whenever we reload the app, that's the first screen that's going to get loaded. So let's go ahead and do that. Need to go to app.js, and then instead of home screen, we bring in transfer screen, and don't forget to import it over here. Now if we save this, look at the app, now we see that we have transfer screen. So let's start working on this now. Let me see if I can put these side by side like how other developers do it on YouTube. I hope this is gonna be big enough for the text. Okay, let me do this. So let's start working on the screen now. So the first thing that we need to work on is this. We need to change the background color of the screen first. Okay, so go back here. If you look into styles, we've got the background color set over here. Good. Now go to index. Now we need to import styles. Okay, so import and then we need to set the background color now. Styles.container. So this entire view will take the style of the container. We've defined the style. This is what the container looks like. It will have a padding top of 40, and then padding top of the padding we defined plus 40, and then the background color will be set here. So now once we hit save, we see that the background color has changed, and now we've got this padding on top. Then what we need to do, we need to have this thing on top here. I think this can be a separate component. Let me just put this phone on silent because I'm getting a lot of text. Okay, so we need to create this separate component over here. I'm gonna call it header as well. Okay, so it's only gonna be unique to no, it's not really gonna be unique, but we might use the same component on different screens, but for now, because we only have two screens, I'm just gonna put it in here. I'm gonna call it header.js, and I'm gonna use this shortcut over here. Now we need to bring in the header we need to display the header over here. By the way, guys, components should be the files should all start in capital letters, okay? And also this here should be in capital letters. So make sure when you create your project, your component files should be in capital letters, and then your utility files can be in small letters. makes it easier to differentiate. Okay, so save that, bring in header, this one, it's the one that we created, save. Now we see header, so now let's go ahead and work on it. Alright, so we don't want it to touch the sides, so we can wrap it in a view that will have a style that we've defined. Styles.horizontal padding. Now we put the header inside of here, so anything that's going to be inside of this view will not touch the sides of the screen. If we save, now we see that we've got some padding. So let's work on the header now. Alright, cool. So we need to import a package for icons. I'm gonna use icons, but you can use more than let me just do it like this to make things easier. So we're importing icons from vector icons. So there's a lot, you know, we've got int design, we've got you know, there's a lot, but I'm just gonna use icons for now, and let's see if that works. So to do that, unicorns, let's see, give it a name of so this is where you get the icons. Let's try this one. No, this one is too complicated. Cut outline. Okay, and you can give it a size. This is a prop. Let's give it a 20, then hit save. We see you get a cut. So we need to put a cross, because remember in our example we have a cross. So it's called close, and then there's a text here, so we'll just use, why am I messing stuff up? There's a text called transfer, and then we've got another icon here. What is it called? Let me look it up. Okay, it's called ellipsis vertical. Okay, hit save. Yep, so now we've got our stuff added here. Let me just take a look at this picture one more time. I think the icons should be bigger than, let's leave them as they are, but the text is definitely bold. Okay, so now as you can see, these items, these components are they are ordered vertically, they are in a column. Okay, that's because that's the nature of mobile apps. Most mobile apps, the UI is in a column, so we need to change the parent view, meaning the parent element that's holding everything, that's holding these elements. We need to change the direction to the flex direction to row. Okay, so we can create the style over here. So for small components, I usually just leave the style sheets in the file, but for screens I usually just create a separate style sheet. Okay, let's create a container for this, and the flex direction will be row, and we need to apply the style to container. Now if we hit save, now you see everything is in a row. Now we need to have space, even space in between of these elements over here. We need to have space here and another space here. To do that, I think we can use justify content, not center, but space between. Yep. Now we need to make this transfer to be bold, and let's just change the font size, the size of these icons to 30 and see how they look. Now I think this one is good, but this one is very, very big. Let me see if I change this to 25. And then might need to change the text. Okay, first of all, let's change the font size to I don't know, 18. Let's make this bold. No, I don't feel 18. Let's change it to 16 instead. Alright, so we've got the header component done. Now the next step is to create these components over here. Let me just zoom in so y'all can see. Is to create this component here. Let me think about this. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make this one. Okay. I am going to create this piece as a component, and we're gonna give it props to manipulate the styles. Okay, yeah, so it's gonna take this prop, a text, a description, and another prop for the price, and a prop for the calendar, for the flag. Okay, cool. So let's do that. So first of all, we'll go ahead and prepare data for this, and then I will show you all what the data looks like, and then we'll go ahead and create this component here. Okay, so I've prepared the data under the data file that we have. Again, if you don't know what this file is for, just go back to the previous video that I made, and then you'll know what this file is for. So I created a transfer object, like a list of transfers, and we've got the image, which is this image over here, and then we've got the heading, which is you send, the price that we send, and then we'll use this is sending to determine where the border radiuses should be. Should they be at the top or at the bottom? Okay, if we are sending, then the border radiuses should only apply to the top, and if the component is displaying data for what the other person will receive, then get the gist of it, man. And then we've got cards. I added a cards array as well for these here. We've got this image, which is this, and the balance that we have. So I left it as price, but it's the balance, and then the card number. So let's go ahead and build these components now. So go back to the transfer screen under components. Let's create the transfer component. Yeah, let me just call it a transfer component. Yeah. Yep. And remember, the name of the files for components should start with a capital letter. So I messed this up at the beginning, so I'm just gonna continue doing it as I do now. But yeah, don't do as I do. So yep, let me call this transfer.js, React Native. And I want to do something over here. So we've got this entire transfer thingy, but we also need a transfer item. We need a transfer item. So let me do this. New file, because it might happen that we want to just display just one card. You know, we might want to display just this card over here, you see. So to make this thing reusable as possible, I'm just gonna break everything into pieces and then I'll explain later what I'm doing. So now we have a transfer item.js. Okay, save that. Now let's bring in the transfer item. So okay, what is this transfer item expecting? It's expecting a transfer object. Okay, so we are gonna pass props. So I'm just gonna call it props, and then yeah, we'll start designing it in a moment. We need to bring in this transfer item into transfer. Remember, transfer will display two transfer items. Okay, transfer item number 1 and transfer item number 2. Okay, save that. Hope this is still making sense, guys. This is transfer item number 1 and this is transfer item number 2, like we have over here. So now in the transfer screen, we need to bring in this transfer component and we need to give it props as well. Okay, save that. Yep, we need to give it props. Let's go to the index file, and underneath the header, now we need a scroll view because we want this to be static. All right, so we don't want it to move, but we want to be able to scroll in here. So we might have a lot of data showing in this screen. When we scroll up, we don't want this to get scrolled as well. We want it to stay static. So I'm gonna add a scroll view. So scroll view, it should come from React Native. Okay, so in the scroll view, we will now add the transfer component, which is this one. It is expecting props, but we'll add the props later. All right, so now we see that the transfer component is being pulled in and it's showing each transfer item. All right, so let's work on the transfer item now. Okay, so this is a view. Let's give it let's give it some styles. It should be a card. Sorry, let's call it container. let's give it a width of 100% and a height of let me see, let's do 200 pixels and a background color of let's see, white. Save this. Nah, I think 200 is too much. 100. Let's do 80. Okay, and then go to the transfer screen. I want to add some spacing in here. Oh, we do have a spacer. Remember, we created a spacer component. Again, if you're wondering what this is, just go back to the previous video and we will give it a height of, let's put in 5. Okay, so we've got the space now. Yeah, I think let's go ahead and now pass the data in here, and then how are we gonna do this? Okay, so on top we'll always have the usend component, and then at the bottom we'll always have the receive. So I know what to do, so let's come in here and bring in, let's bring in the import transfer from data. Okay, so now I've got the transfers. Let's pass them as props in here. So I'm just gonna call this data, and I'm gonna say is equals to transfer, like this. So now I'm passing the data to this transfer. Now from transfer, because I know that the data is an array, I can pass in a data prop as well as here. You can call this anything. I'm just gonna call it data, and to access this data we go props.data. Like here we if you go back here, we called this property data for this component. So within this component, I need to, if I want to access that data property, I need to go props.data. Okay, so I'm gonna do that now. I want to pass the first item in the data, so I'm gonna go props.data, and I know that the data that I'm passing is an array, so I'm gonna do this. And it's good to use TypeScript because it won't be easy to make errors doing this, because you'll have types and you'll be pretty much safe. And then let's do this. Now here we're passing the second data. Okay, save this, make sure nothing breaks, and we are breaking undefined. Okay, let me figure out what the issue is and then I'll continue the video. Okay guys, so I did some debugging here, and so what I basically did, I used the use effects hook and then console.log out the props, and I see that data is undefined, and when whatever object that you are passing is undefined, you go back to see where is this coming from. So it's coming from index, and I see that this is where I define data. I'm pulling out transfer from this file here. So if I go to this file, I see that I do have transfer, but I'm not exporting it. Okay, so I think that's where the issue, yeah, this is definitely where the issue is coming from. So I need to transfer this data. I need to export, transfer, and also I need to export cards because we're gonna use it later on. So now I'll save, and then I'm gonna go back to this over here, and I'm gonna uncomment this out, and yeah, let's leave this out for now. Okay, before I uncomment it out, I want to show you also. Now you see we are getting data, so I want to make sure that it is an array. Yeah, it is an array, and the first object is user and the second object is they receive. Okay, so now I think it's safe to uncomment this out, and I'm just gonna remove this hook over here, because if I save now, yep, we now see these components are rendering out. So now we need to display the data within these components. Okay, so now go back to transfer item. We are getting data within the props. Okay, so we can do something like props dot, what's this, heading, if I save, we need to wrap it in these curly braces, save. Okay, I guess we need to do some debugging again, unless I messed something up. Props, dot data, we called it data. Yeah, you see, data. So we can't just, we need to say props dot data dot heading, props dot data dot heading. Now if we save, now you see we are getting the props now. So now let's go ahead and try to style the view. So we've got the container, but we need to add additional styles over here. So to do that, you use these square brackets like this, and then put enter, comma. Now we can define our own styles over here. So let's check if is sending is true. So I think we can do something like props dot data dot, no, we can say border radius, how do we do this, border, what, we can't just access the entire top. Okay, let me search something over here. Okay, so what I was trying to do was I wanted to access the entire top. Like I wanted a property that will change the border radius of the entire top parts of this card, but I couldn't find one, so I guess we need to write this long piece of code. So it's gonna be border radius. Let's start with top. Okay, border bottom left radius. Okay, border bottom left radius, which will be this one. So first we need to check props dot data dot is sending. Okay, so we want to style the left, but first we need to check if are we sending. If we are sending, then we shouldn't apply. And then if we are not sending, then we should apply a border radius. So I hope this makes sense. So we are applying a style here. We are checking, are we sending? Are we the one that are sending? If this is true, then we don't want a border, we don't want a radius over here, because if you look here, we don't have a radius here. But if we are not sending and we are receiving, we do want to have a radius over here, because that means this will be this card here. So we need a radius over here. So let me save that and see if it works. Yep, it works. But I want to put 10 over here instead of 20. Okay, so now we need to do the same thing for this, and this. Okay, gonna copy this. First of all, let me put this in separate line over here. The same applies for right. Save. Now we got this. So now we need to do the same thing for the top. So now we're asking, are we sending data? If this is true, if we are sending data, then we want to apply a padding of 10. A radius of 10, else we don't want to apply anything. So let's copy this and add it here as well. Top left, top right. So it's good practice to store these values in a separate file, so that later on when you wanna change, the values, it will be very easy. So like I'm gonna do right now. So I feel like 10 is not enough, so I'm just gonna put 15. Right, so I think it's coming together. Right, cool. So we need to add some padding now. Gonna add the padding inside the container. Padding will just bring everything inside. 20 might be too much. Let's do 15. Yep, 15 is okay. So this text over here, they receive. Okay, we'll change the color in a bit. So now we need to work on this section over here. So you can see that this part is in a column, but this entire thing is in a row. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and work on that. So I'm gonna need a view. Let me put it here. So this is the view that's going to be the entire row, and this is the view that's going to be the column that will have the text for the price and the description. Styles dot, I'm going to call it description, and I'm going to call this price. Okay, let's go ahead and define description. The font size will be let's do 16, and the color will be gray. Save that. 16 is too much. Let's do 12. Okay, so now let's do the price. And I want to have some margin here. Margin bottom of 5. Okay, now let's do the price. Let's try 18. Let's do font weight of bold. Okay, so looking much better. So this is the view that's containing these two. This view is right here, so we need to add an image but outside of this view. So let me give this a style called raw. Yeah, I'm gonna call it raw, and we need an image. And I'm gonna give it, yep, go ahead and follow me on TikTok, guys, since you've already seen my TikTok notification. Just go ahead and follow me, and then the source of the image will be props.data.img. Yep, it's img. So now let's add these styles. img. Wait, let's do 30. See how it looks. We might. It doesn't know what the image is, so we need to import that component in React Native. Hit save. What? Alright, so it was complaining that here we had a string instead of a double, so it couldn't cast, a string to a double. I'm not sure why it worked before, but yeah, this is you'll face this a lot. Sometimes your code will work and then it will just stop working. I'm not sure why it worked at first. Yeah, but make sure that you have a 0 instead of a number. Yeah, it makes sense actually, because if we are not sending data, then we want to have a border radius of 0, which is a number. So let's go ahead and save now and see where is the image. Why is the image not showing? Styles.img. Okay, let's do the height. Maybe it needs a height. Okay, so now we've got the images showing. Now we need to make sure that everything is in a row. Right now, these things are in a grid. So we need to create the style over here. Flex direction, row, save. Now we need to justify content and have space between. save. Now we need to censor everything, align items, censor, save. And there you have it, guys. Not sure whether I want to create this little component over here, but I don't think we have enough time to create it. But yeah, it'll definitely have to be in here, and then the position of it should be absolute, and because you know what the width of, the height of these, you know what the height of each element here is, you'll just set the top to that height so that it will be here. And yeah, let me just try to do it and see how it goes. Okay, I'm gonna create it here, and no. Start icon. I'm gonna call it icon. I'm gonna give it a width of 20 and a height of 20 and a background color of, is it background color? I think it's orange. And save this. So now I've got this over here. Now we need to say position. Position is absolute. Then we need to set the top. Let me check here. The width of each, the height is 80, so let me do top. I think it should be 80. Yep, I think, yeah, it's here. Then we need to make the Z index. We can put 100 over here. Now we need to bring it to the center. How do I do this? Let me do right. Let me see if I do this, how it looks. It's gonna go right into the right. Let me think about this. Okay, let's do 70. Bring it a bit top, 75 maybe. Yeah, because this this spacer adds an extra height, so it's a bit hard to find the exact center. But this looks okay. Let's border radius. Let's give it a border radius of 20. Let's bring it up a bit. Yep, I think looks almost the same. Now we need to bring that icon. Where did we use those icons? We used them here. Oh, sorry. So we need to import icons, and then go back over here and use icons. Okay, so I'm gonna search for I'm looking for this one. Yep, this one. Chevron down. Okay. Chevron down. Let me see in size, and then we can give it a color of white. Save. It's too small. Let's make it a bit bigger, and then we need to justify content center, and also align items with the center. Yep, looks pretty much the same. Yeah, I'd say it looks very much the same. Okay, so as you can, we need to add some space between this component and this one over here. So we need to add some space here. So we're going to use a spacer within the index. So this is where we've got string. So let's add a spacer here. Let's add it over here. Yep, so we have to import it, and then we want to use height instead of width. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a height of 15. Let's see how that looks like. Nope, let's give it 20. Looks much better. Okay, what's missing? This exchange rate thingy. No, I'm gonna leave this out, man. Let's work on the cards now. All right, so these are gonna be reusable components as well, and forgot that to add the colors for the cards. So let me just quickly do that. So if you go to data, we need to have a background color as well. So let me just pick this one, and let's give it this background color, and let me choose a different background color here. Okay, let's save. So now let's create the card component now. So it will be here. First of all, we need to create a component that will have a list of our cards. So let's create that. I'm gonna call it cards.js. Okay. So we've got cards. So now we need to create another one called card item. So this is the individual cards. All right. Do the same thing. Card item. All right. Now we need to bring in our card item over here. Let me see. Okay, save that. Now let's bring in our card and display it over here. Inside our scroll view, I'll use a spacer with a height of 20, and then I'll bring in my cards. like so. Okay, save that. Now we've got a card item. All right, so we're gonna borrow a lot of our code from this component that we had over here. It was category. Yeah, I'm gonna just copy this touchable opacity, bring it over here. All right, so we need to bring in our stuff. Let me remove the things that I don't need for now. Okay, so we've got a touchable opacity, which will allow us to tap or press on the item. When we press, we will fire up this this event listener. On press event listener, and then we'll have our our function run over here. But for now, let me do this. It'll run just a blank function. Then we've got the styles of the container. Then the background color will then come from the props. So let's put props over here. Props. So now we'll say props.data. We'll just call it data, like how we did over here. So we'll say props.data.background color, which will come from, we just added the background color over here. Right. Yep, I think the card is done for now. Let's save and props.data. Okay, so we are not passing the data yet, so that's why this thing is complaining. All right, so let's come to, this is the card item. So let's come to the cards. So cards will receive props. So we'll say data is equals to props data, and let's just give it the first item first. Save that. Still gonna get an error. Now let's come to here. Let's get our cards now, and then we'll say data is equals to cards. Save that. Now if we save, refresh, we don't see anything. Why don't we see anything? Oh, we are missing the styles. Okay, but at least we don't have the error anymore. So if you go back to card item, you see we don't have this container style. So I'll go back to the category, go to container, excuse me, and then I'm gonna come back here to card item, paste the style. Now the width is coming from, it's actually the width of the screen, which comes from here. So this is the width of the screen, and dimensions should come from React Native. So currently this is taking 33% of the screen. I wanted to take 50% of the screen. Okay. No, let's make it take 40% of the screen, because there's also, like, some padding, and I want the height to be 200. As you can see here, these cards are pretty long. Okay, So now I've got this here. Yeah, I've got a margin right as well. Okay, so now let's display the data. Okay, if you see, if we click here, we got this response. That's because of the touchable opacity. So now let's bring in the image now. Okay. I wonder if I can, okay, let me have a view that will have my image, and the source of the image will be props.data.img, then the style, alright. Let's create that style img. Let's save that and see how it looks. Okay, image needs to come from React Native. Save that. So now you see we get this. Why is everything censored? Let's remove this. Save that. So now you see we've got the image. Let's add some padding. Let's do 20. No, it's too much. Let's do 10. Yeah, I think 10 is okay. And let me see if I can align self. And flex end. Yep. Okay. Now we've got this. What else do we need? We need why do I have this view here? Okay, yeah, let me divide everything into views. You'll see why I'm doing that in a few seconds. Okay, so we need a text. Balance. Style. Balance. And we need another one for displaying the money. props.data.price. Let's save that and see. Right. And then we need another view for displaying the what do you call this, the card number. Save that. Now we get the card number as well. Okay, so let's add these styles now. Balance. The font size is very small. Let's say 12 pixels, and color is gray. Okay, and then let's see, price. Looks like the font weight is bold. Looks like the size is okay, but the font weight needs to be bold. Do we have light gray? Okay, let me just leave it as it is. Now let's change the card num, and I'm gonna make the font size to be, let's say 10, because you know card numbers can get really long. Alright, so now the flex direction of this card is in a column. Now the reason why I had everything under the view, you know, this section should be under the view, its own view, and this section is under its own view, and the cut number is under its own view. That's because if you look here, there's space in between of these sections. Yeah, well, so now I can just go to the container and say justify content and say space between, and it'll apply the space between, you see, like so. And just like we did here, difference here is because the difference here is this is in a row, but this is in a column. Well, we might want to reduce this a bit. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's leave it as it is. It's good. Yeah, it looks like the cards are good now. So now the next thing to do is to give this cards component a list of cards, and it should, you know, just create a scroll view for us so that we can scroll you know, sideways. Okay, so to do this, I'm gonna use what we call a flat list. This is from a previous video of this project that I was working on, so go ahead and check that video out. Yeah, this should have been a separate component in this screen, but yeah, we are improving as we go along. Okay, so here's the cards now. We need to put a flat list over here, and flat list will come from we will need a text. We definitely will need a text because we need to add a text over here. So the flat list is horizontal, and the data will come from props dot data, you see, and we don't want to show the indicator. When we're scrolling, there's an indicator that shows, we don't want to show that. And the item that we want to display now is not this category item, but we want to display this card item over here. Paste, and data now will be item, because this item represents one card within a pool of cards. So fingers crossed, if we run this, we should be able to scroll, or we should see two cards. And indeed we see two cards. And let me try to add another one and see if we are able to scroll. Where's data? I don't like this color. It should be green anyways, because okay, green card. You need to change the ID to make every card unique. Yep, looks like we are able to get more than one cards, and we are able to scroll. And yeah, I think we are almost there, guys. Let's let's add a missing text, which is this one, your cards. Okay. Save your cards. Let's add a margin bottom of 10 pixels. Okay. Okay, looks good. What else now are we missing? I'm not gonna do this as well because it will take a lot of time. So we didn't do this one as well, so I'm not gonna do this one. So now we just need to add this button here, which is the proceed button. And we've got a reusable button. Where did we use it? Transaction. Yep, we called it custom button. Okay, so let's go back to the home screen, which is this one, and let's add a spacer. And I'm gonna give it a height of 20, and then before we do that, let's add a view, and I'll put this button in here. It's a reusable button that we created in a previous video, so we need to import it here. And the text in there is proceed. Do we have colors? No, we don't. Let me see if we can import colors. Yep. Colors.orange. Okay, so when we press on this, we'll just run an empty function. Let's save. So it's a small button. Let's make the width. Let's get the width of the screen. Dimensions. Wonder if this will work. Oh shit. I copied an empty text. Okay, so now we have the width of the screen. So let me see if I can put width over here. The width of the screen. I hope it won't overlap. Let me take I want 70% of the width of the screen. So the width will be 70% of the width. Okay. And I want the height to be, let's make it 40. Okay, and then text size, let's make it to be 20. So this is the beauty of using reusable components, guys. Like, we're just playing with numbers now to get exactly what we want. and yep, I put this in a view because you'll see what I wanted to do in a minute. So the style will be styles.btn container. Okay, we don't have that, so now we need to write it over here. Align item center, justify content center. It's not doing it. It's not doing what we want it to do. Okay, how? Let me see. Align content center. No, align self center. Let's try that. It's definitely not doing what I wanted to do, but let me see. Oh shit, flip. Okay, guys, sorry about the strong language. Sorry for the strong language, but as a developer, yeah, you get to use these terms a lot. So let's add margin top. I don't know, man, let's do it 20. Okay, so I think we are pretty much done, guys. I don't know what you think, but it's not really perfect, but it's very close, very close if you ask me. Yep, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe. Don't forget to share this video as well, and let me know in the comment section which UI do you want me to build in our next video, or which projects do you want us to work on. Can be, you know, a client project, client side project, or we can work on a full stack project, a project with an actual back end. So yeah, if you watched till the end, I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.